Good afternoon, everyone. This is Judge Jennifer Brunner, and we're here with the judicial series, Achieving Justice. I'm a candidate for the Ohio Supreme Court in 2020, and I currently serve as a 10th District Court of Appeals judge in Franklin County, Ohio. Now, the state of Ohio has 12 appellate districts, and I'm so happy to have with me today Stacy Brooks, who is a candidate for the 4th District Court of Appeals, which is in southern and southeast Ohio, and one of the most diverse and largest number of counties in that district in the state of Ohio. So welcome, Stacy. We're so glad to have you today.
Thanks, Judge. I'm really happy to be here. Thank you.
So thank you. And would you tell us a little bit about yourself so we can get an idea of your background and why you're running for the 4th District Court of Appeals?
Sure. Yeah, thank you. I am originally from the Dayton area. I went to Xavier University. And then I ultimately landed in Vermont for law school. But I've lived here in Chillicothe about 14 years. It's where I met and married my husband, Luke. Luke Feeney is actually the mayor here in Chillicothe. We really love this town. We love this area. And we're proud to raise our 2 kids here, Colin and Marin. Luke and I met actually when I started out my legal career. It was working at Southeastern Ohio Legal Services, a legal aid job, which, I've told people is my dream job, or it was at the time for sure, because I had the privilege of helping people every day. People who were really kind of lost and forgotten in our judicial system for sure, and oftentimes just in society. I learned a lot there about how to be a lawyer. I learned a lot about how to advocate for people. I got to work on legislation. I got to work on appeals to the Supreme Court. And I was a union president there. Our workers were organized under the UAW. It's a national organization of legal service workers. So I was able to actually work on how our organization was treating its workers, and that in turn helped the organization help more people. So that experience shaped me for sure. But I also then opened my own firm and became a small business owner. I merged that firm with the company that I'm with right now, and I've been practicing here in Chillicothe, Waverly, and the surrounding counties and areas my whole career. I have been the solicitor for the Village of Beaver. I'm also a certified mediator, parenting coordinator, and guardian ad litem. And as I said, I practiced on a lot of the counties in the 4th District, but I've also been an educator, and I think that's important too, because judges have to write decisions that people can understand what's being communicated, why the law is the way that it's being decided. As far as why I'm running, I think, it goes back to my legal aid experience. It goes back to my Jesuit education about service. It's what I do for my clients every day. So every, family, child, parent, organization, anyone that I've ever represented, I've tried to empower. Try to empower them to overcome their challenges and help them. And that service, I think, is in my heart, it's in my background, and that's probably the main reason why I got involved in this race.
Oh, I love to hear your story. That's just great.
Thank you.
I have a similar philosophy that I feel like I'm a public servant who happens to be a judge. Mm-hmm. And it's clear that you have given a lot of service to the people in Southeast Ohio, and it would be a different dimension in the Court of Appeals, but so important because so many cases that go to the Courts of Appeals do not end up before the Ohio Supreme Court because the Ohio Supreme Court has to agree to take those. So someone who's had this kind of background, who's caring, who's well-versed in the law, because you have a master's degree too, right?
I do, yeah.
Yeah. It just, 1 or 2 words can sometimes make the difference in an opinion. Haven't you found that?
Yes, absolutely. And I do think that, again, this is from a bigger level, but it gives me an opportunity to make a bigger impact even. So 14 counties spread all over, but my hope is that gives me the opportunity then, to make a bigger impact.
So is it possible to name all 14 counties?
I can try. A lot of times what I tell people is I'm here in Ross County. We've got Pickaway County to the north. Then if you head over, you're going to hit Hocking, Athens, Washington. You're going to go down to Meigs County, Gallia County, Lawrence, Scioto, Adams, Highland, and back up. So then anything in the middle too, which I think is Benton, Jackson, Pike, and Ross. And then I think I've hit them all. So I tell people it's kind of like the whole southeast quadrant of the state basically is this district.
Oh, sure. You're going clear over to the Ohio River with
Yeah.
Washington and Meigs. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, wow. Wow. Well, what's so interesting to me too is I actually have roots in Jackson County, right close to the border of Pike County. So when you mentioned Beaver, as a girl, I would visit my great-great-grandmother when she lived just inside the border there of Jackson County. In fact, if you give me a second, here is a picture of,
oh my gosh.
I'm the baby in this picture with my mom, my grandpa, my great-grandma, and my great-great-grandma Ray.
Oh, wow.
So how's about
That's
that for
great.
a little
That's
convergent
great.
history between the two of us? So, and I looked at the picture of you on your website, and you and your family, you look so happy, and you look happy being in the environment you are in Southeast Ohio. And I was looking at some of your interests, and so it seems like the quality of your life, even though I know it's hard for people sometimes economically in Southeast Ohio, but with the beauty of it, the quality is pretty good, isn't it?
Absolutely. I mean, that's what I tell people, and that's, obviously what my husband feels too, is that we're just in the best place. We have, I went for a run this morning, and just less than 2 miles from my house, I have this beautiful scene of wildflowers and mountains and hills, and then I can come right back and I'm in town, and I have, I can walk to all these different places. And I've been, when I go to court or when I'm traveling around in the 4th District, I've been taking pictures of courthouses, and the history around here is just so wonderful and beautiful. There's just so much to do, so much for our families to enjoy. And it really is. We have a wonderful life here. So, yeah.
Yes, and during COVID-19 pandemic like this, there's nothing like nature to soothe the soul.
That's right. And we have plenty of it down in this region. So.
Oh, yes, you do. I once flew on a one-engine plane in 2006 down to Huntington, West Virginia, because I was going to be speaking at the Lawrence County Democratic Party. And it was in the fall, and I couldn't believe how many small little lakes and ponds there were among those hills of South and Southeastern Ohio. It's I think people really got off of 71 and 70 and 75, and they saw the Ohio that obviously you get to see in the travels that you do with your work and campaign, and that I've been able to see. They would think, why do I need to vacation anywhere else? It's so beautiful here.
Absolutely. I mean, I know there's lots of places to tout in this district, but we do have the Hocking Hills. We have wonderful park systems. Even in Pickaway County, which is, not just a skip from Columbus, there's, like a little wetlands park. There's just so much to do. And, I think they're doing a better job now with COVID of, getting that information out to people that, hey, come on out. We're right here. We're literally in your backyard.
Right.
Yeah.
But I know too that Southeast Ohio has always been disadvantaged in terms of access to jobs, to the internet, to industry and development. And I think you've probably seen that firsthand working with the Southeast Ohio Legal Services. So what would you say to date the hardest cases that you've ever worked on?
Oh my gosh. That's a good question. I think one of my passions is working with children and working with families. And so being in a lot of juvenile courts, you see the struggles, the real struggles of what families are dealing with, trying to stay together. I've worked on several cases as a court-appointed attorney, and those that have gone to the appellate level have been some of the most challenging. But even when we don't win, in a sense, I feel like I've been able to help people. I've been able to walk those families through the system, have a voice, maybe salvage some things and put some things back together that maybe they wouldn't have been able to do had they not landed in the court system. So I have a lot of faith in our courts. I have a lot of hope for what our courts can do to help people. And I've definitely seen some of that. And so it makes me hopeful for what we can do in the future for people.
Yeah, most definitely. And it seems like as a Court of Appeals judge, from my experience, it's been more than 5 years on this Court of Appeals. I have to be able to take a complicated legal concept and then translate it into real people reality and how it would actually play out in somebody's lives. And it seems like you'd be pretty good at that from all of your experiences.
I hope so. And, you know, I really, I enjoy the research writing aspect. I really enjoy working on appeals. I think I'll be a little bit removed from the direct client contact that I've had for so long, but I think having those experiences, having worked on those kind of cases, and really I've practiced in a wide variety of areas. So I feel like I would be able to relate to people in a way that will help make their cases, you know, more understandable, and translate that information back to them when there is a decision. This is
Sure.
Why the law is the way it is and how it applies to you in this case.
Plus, this is a court with 4 judges, and the judges sit on 3 judge panels. So those are sort of, you know, divided up by the court in an equitable way. But, you know, there's a role to educate or to at least share your experiences with other judges. And I found from my experiences that if another judge hasn't held the position of, for instance, I was a trial court judge, they want to hear what my point of view is on that. And I think that adds to the court too, doesn't it?
I would hope so. And I feel like I've had a good rapport with most of the judges, the attorneys, anybody that I work with. And so I would hope that it would be the same when I would get on the court, be able to have those conversations with other judges about the cases and the situations that we're looking at, so that we can really make the best decision.
Yeah. So, so is it kind of a crazy life with Luke, your husband? I mean, that's a full-time job in Chillicothe, isn't it? Being there?
It is, yeah. And he dabbles. He still practices a little bit with our firm. He's worked on some cases for us. And with the 2 kids, I mean, Colin is 4, Marin is going to be 2. We stay pretty busy. And I do have to really, you know, acknowledge Luke and the other mayors in this area, all of the other officials that have been working over the past few months. They have a very challenging job. And I really think that everybody in our area has been doing a really good job to try to keep people safe. And so that being said, yeah, we tend to take on everything all at once in our household, but it's kind of the nature of it, and it's what we enjoy doing, so it works out.
Well, you're still smiling. So. So with campaigning, COVID-19 brings all kinds of new challenges. And for you, what's it like? What's it like in that part of the state for you to be able to campaign?
You know, I have to say that there are some advantages to being in big counties where people are spread out. I mean, during this time, I think that nothing has been too out of control. So as we've been reopening slowly, you know, some groups are having small meetings outside. We have a lot of places to do that. So that's kind of been working out where we can meet safely. And we've been doing a lot of this stuff on Zoom, and people are getting accustomed to doing that. And I have to say, you know, as long as we're safe and we can be together, whether it's virtual or in person or, you know, however that's going to work out, I think, you know, we all have a focus to kind of get through to November and try to work as much in the same capacity as we would otherwise. But it is helpful to be together, and whether that's virtual or in person, but it'll be challenging, but we're all going to get through it.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I think it would be interesting for people to realize that your seat that you're running for is actually vacant at this time. The person who was elected to that seat was actually appointed a federal district court judge.
Yeah. And that's what I try to tell people too, is why, sort of paying attention to the judicial races is important. We had someone go to the federal bench right here in our district. And so part of what I'm doing with my campaign too is just educating people. I really appreciate you doing this, because I think we face the challenge of people going into the voting booth and saying, I don't know enough about these candidates. I don't know enough about what this kind of a judge is going to do, that, they don't vote. And so we lose some voters. People who are otherwise very dedicated and loyal voters go in, and I've actually said they get judicial votophobia. They just kind of, I don't know, so I'm not going to vote. And so what I've been trying to do is, educate people a little bit more about why these races are important up and down the ballot, how they can be, helpful in educating other people and understanding more about what judicial races are about. And so that, people have the tools they need when they go into the voting booth, and they're not overcome by judicial votophobia.
That's great.
Vote. We got to capture votes.
I haven't heard that term before. That's quite good. And, I have actually sat in your district before as a visiting judge. And so I've spent the time in your courthouse. It's very nice. And it's compared to someplace like Franklin or Cuyahoga, where they had to build a big high-rise building. It's just so refreshing to be able to go to a beautiful old courthouse like, what exists there.
Yes.
Yes,
and
yes.
Those are found, I guarantee, in every county in my district. I mean, like I said, I'm trying to take some pictures and put them out on social media just to highlight the history that's there and how beautiful these buildings are, and they're, majestic. So,
yes. Yeah. So if people want to find more out about you, what's your website? It's
brooks4judge.com. That's pretty easy.
Is the 4 a number, or is it the word?
It's FOR.
Okay.
Yep. And I'm trying to put information on there. You can find my bio, information about the race and things like that. But I'm also trying to put information about the court so that people can understand, there's a map on there. Where is the 4th district? Am I in the 4th district? You can find it pretty easily on there. And I'm trying to put that out on social media as well.
That's excellent. And really, whether we're judicial candidates or judges or justices, it's really our duty to educate the public about the judiciary, because the role that the judiciary plays really carries the highest discretion of any of the 3 branches of government, and people should want really good, qualified people full of integrity in their court, in that position. So
I absolutely agree. Especially
yes.
Everything that's going on right now. I think people look to the courts to sort of do what they're supposed to do, restore balance to things. And so it is very important.
It is. Mm-hmm. So in wrapping up, do you want to talk to the voters a little bit more about why they should support you, or about your background or your love of the court? How do you want to close?
Well, I would just say, that they don't make it easy on us to campaign, as far as, we can't go around talking about issues we wouldn't want to as judicial candidates or judges. And some people might say that takes all the fun out of it. But I would say, look at my background, look at what I've done, talk to people who know me as an attorney, and you would see that speaks way more than any any campaign kind of promise or any political idea that might come out or something. I think my background, my hard work, my relatability to people, and then, my heart, it's where my heart is at to help people. So if you look at those kind of things, then you'll understand where I'm coming from and why I would like to serve on the 4th District Court.
Oh, it's so wonderful to have you here today, Stacy. And
Thank you.
I wish you safety and health and lots of energy. And I hope people get the chance to really meet you and learn about you. And I'm so glad you could join me today in this interview. And I can't wait till we can see each other in person in the future.
I agree. Stay safe and keep doing this. I appreciate that you're doing it for the candidates and for other judges. And it goes right along with what my campaign is about. So thank you so much.
Thank you. Take care.
Take care.